Very sad situation, but it actually highlights a good cop. A good cop stopped a bad cop from doing something illegal. A good cop saw that a bad cop, who happened to be a sergeant, was about to mace, pepper spray a suspect already in handcuffs in the back of a police cruiser. So this good cop, it's a young woman on the force, grabbed the bad cop and pulled him away. What did the bad cop do? Well, he turned around and choked her out in front of her colleagues. Yeah, that's what he did. Should have been arrested on the damn spot. Let me give you the background. Sunrise, Florida. A sergeant is now on desk duty and under investigation following an incident that took place November 19th. We're just getting the video. The body cam shows Sergeant Christopher Police grabbing the throat of a young female officer after she pulled him back from a cuffed suspect. Let me show you the first screenshot. So this sergeant comes armed with mace. The suspect is backing away from him inside of the vehicle. So the sergeant runs up, the guy's in the car, and he's now going to mace the individual when the person has already been arrested, okay? Let me show you the next pictures. Now, what you see, the blurred image is a young female officer who has now intervened and pulled the sergeant completely away from the suspect who is handcuffed and made sure that the suspect had his rights respected. That's a hero. And this is what happened after she intervened. The sergeant turns around and he chokes her in front of all of his colleagues and the suspect. Okay? Here's what I'm thankful for. The chief spoke up. The chief actually said something. The chief, Anthony Rosa, shared his reaction with 7 Investigators and said, "I find this behavior to be disgusting. I think the video speaks for itself." The chief also applauded the young officer, saying, "So I'm very proud of this police officer. She took some definitive action. I can only imagine what she must be feeling. She's a newer officer, keep that in mind. A newer officer, and he's a very senior sergeant." The 28-year-old, who 7 Investigators did not name, has been with Sunrise Police for just over 2.5 years. Compare that to 46-year-old Sergeant Christopher Police, a 21-year-plus veteran of the force. Yeah, you see, we keep talking reform. We just need police reform. No, you need police replacement. The reason why this happened, the reason why there's a good cop story out of this is because there was a new cop who chose to be good, who chose to do the right thing. And thankfully, the chief of police is standing with her. However, everyone here knows that sergeant should have been arrested on the spot, which proves the culture that permeates still protects people like him. She was a victim of assault. She was choked out by a sergeant who, this woman did exactly what she was supposed to do. She has a duty to intervene, to protect and serve, and she did that. She did it quite well. Here's what led up to it. Just a minute earlier, the body camera shows a man being walked by officers to a patrol car. He was being arrested for aggravated battery after police say he hit people outside of a convenience store. The man under arrest is already in handcuffs, but officers appear to be having difficulty getting him into the car. Around that time, the sergeant pulls up, walks up to the suspect. Sunrise Police Chief Anthony Rosa says he cannot tell us what the sergeant said, but says it made the situation worse. So the police chief said, "Listen, I won't tell you what the guy said, but I will tell you this. What the sergeant said made everything worse. made everything worse, and he did not de-escalate. That's what the chief of police said during an interview. He said, and I quote, "I find it to be inappropriate and unprofessional because what he did is he escalated the situation when calm was actually required." Now, here's the kicker. There's a new law. There's a new law. Here's the law. There's a new state law requiring departments train officers on their duty to intervene. Yes, duty to intervene, meaning if you don't do it, you have now committed a criminal act. If they see another officer using excessive force, Chief Rosa says Sunrise already has policies requiring intervening and de-escalation. They are not interested in releasing the audio, so here's what they did now. They released the video, would not release the audio. Why do you think? The culture. There is still something there. So even though the chief of police is praising what this young officer did, he did that during an interview, he has to. It was physical assault. The sergeant was absolutely wrong. But why is the sergeant still getting paid? Why is the sergeant still employed? Why is the sergeant on desk duty? Why has the sergeant not been arrested? If you're talking about protecting those that are heroes among your ranks, like this particular woman who decided to stand up, and all of these damn men who saw this woman being choked out did absolutely nothing but let it happen, your culture is still corrupt. That 28-year-old who did this needs to be the new chief. I hope she's on the pathway to leadership in law enforcement quickly. The sergeant should be arrested. We're going to stay on top of this story and bring you updates as they develop.